Now, we also, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is that we said the air goes up underneath, okay, and it comes out of this bottom hole down here. Well, that makes this piece right here very important because it literally creates the sound for you. It has to be on here really nice and snug. Okay, if it's loose, if you can move it around really, real easily, there's a problem because you have leaks of air all around it. Okay, that means you're not getting enough air coming down the board to give you a nice full sound. So first of all, make sure it's pulled down real tight, snug. When I make my flutes, I put a rubber band underneath the leather strip just to make sure it stays nice and tight. When you position it, the front of the bird should be about ideally a 16th to an eighth of an inch, just in back of this little rectangular hole right here, just in back of it. One of the things that you want to do is get to know your flute. So pull it back a little bit too far, a little further, blow into it, see if you like the sound. Push it back further to the front. See what you think if you like the sound of that. Sort of experiment with it so you get a sense of what sounds best to you. In general, I found just pulling about a 16th of an inch just in back of that rectangular hole seems to work best in general. It just depends on your ear and how you'd like to hear it sound. Okay? Now, dealing with other keys. It depends on the sound that you like to get in terms of what you really like in terms of the depth, really, that's what it boils down to. And the way I choose a flute is, first of all, it's got to be easy to play. Okay, if you haven't bought a flute yet, make sure when you pick up this instrument, whether you've played before, anything before or not, it's got to play really easily. Just blow into it. If it makes music for you right away, it's your flute. If it doesn't, that doesn't mean it's a bad flute, it just means it's not your flute, okay? It should play very easily. Let me show you. This is a little flute in the key of A. It's a great little flute because the holes are closer together, so it's really simple to play. And the other thing about it is it's because the barrel, the bore, is so short, it gets a lot of great full sound right away without using your breath a lot, okay? Easy to play. So make sure when you purchase a flute, see what happens, what I found from my personal experience is that when I first started playing, I didn't know what was, what worked and what didn't work. So I just figured I'd pick up a flute, and if it didn't work for me, it must be my fault. Trust your intuition. If it doesn't play for you right away, if it's not easy and smooth, find another one. It's real simple. Just trust yourself on these things. Now, the fourth flute is a bass flute. Most people really like the sound of this. It's a little bit harder to play only because the fingering holes are so large. Now, I've seen very small people, meaning small hands, play this, especially women have a little smaller fingers. They still can play them, and the reason being is because they go flat-fingered, like I suggested in the first place, very flat. My experience has been that once you get hooked, I call it, you get hooked on the flute, you're going to want different keys anyway. Okay? Start off though with a flute that is simple for you to play. Even though this is a really wonderful sounding flute, it's not necessarily the easiest to play. I wouldn't suggest you start off with something like this. Start off with a smaller flute that holds it closer together where it plays for you much easier. People have asked me what flutes they should buy to play with other people. In other words, if they want to buy one for their loved one or a friend of theirs to go out and just play and enjoy it. My recommendation is make sure you stick with the same key that they have, so it's more harmonic. Otherwise, it just isn't going to work. Once you've played with someone else, you'll get the idea. It's a most wonderful experience. It's a really sharing of energy. And I just go nuts when I get to play with somebody. I really, matter of fact, I hope I get to see you all at some point and come by the show or whatever, wherever I'm at, so we can play together. It's a really, really enjoyable experience.